Hello! So what you guys are watching is a compilation video, meaning if you have already seen my tier lists on ninjas, constructors, outlanders, and soldiers, you don't necessarily need to watch this video. Timestamps will be down below. But I thought it would be fun to do a ranking every hero video, just including all of these together for your viewing enjoyment. Maybe you missed one, maybe you just want to watch them all at once. I am ranking like 200 heroes in this video, so you might have missed some of it, or you might just be interested in hanging out and watching this. I also want to add that I am doing these separately on purpose, meaning instead of just recording a massive ranking every hero video, which would take me probably 2 hours, I think, I figured combining these in the separate parts was the better way to do it, because how do you really compare some of these soldiers to a constructor? Like, they don't really behave the same. However, I do feel like if I sorted every hero based on their relevance to the entirety of the game, it might be a little bit of a different story. We even encountered this in some of my weapons videos, where certain pistols I might have ranked S tier because within the scope of the pistols in the game, they were S tier. But when you're going to make one big tier list for every ranged weapon, there are bows and rockets that make some of the pistols look like garbage. So it's different depending on your perspective. That's what I'm trying to say. You rank things depending on the pool that you're working with. You know, you might be the smartest kid in your class, but if there's only 15 kids in the class, you know, maybe you'd rank higher or lower depending on how many people. My point is, if you guys want me to do an entire video ranking every hero together, you can comment down below. No promises, because that would be a huge recording. However, for now, I do have this, and I hope you guys enjoy. All right, I decided to record this with my stream overlay so that people in chat can participate in the comments down at the bottom left. But somebody activated a monkey stream, so I will not personally be appearing in this video, but I wanted to do a ninja tier list, and I think these would be kind of fun. It kind of dawned on me that we have like the Save the World asset pack, so like I have all of the pictures and things needed to like easily make more of these tier lists. So if you guys want me to do them all, I mean, like, you know, soldier tier list, constructors, outlanders, abilities, I did do a weapon tier list. I don't think the ranged weapon one is necessary to redo. That one's over an hour long, linked down below if you guys want that. But I could do a melee weapon tier list or even a trap tier list. All sorts of fun stuff. Comment down below. Thumbs up the comments that, you know, reflect what you want to see. And without further ado, let's get into it. So, if you guys don't know how tier lists work, S is the top of the top. That is the #1 best heroes in the game. F is just borderline unusable. I don't know why it's green, but yeah. So there are heroes like Monks, which in my opinion has like an A ability where she drops the bananas when you kunai, and it's really useful, but doesn't do damage unless she's in the lead, and it's kunai, which is just C. You know, it's really not a bad ability, but it is not your go-to. For example, Bladestorm Enforcer does a little bit of damage with those kunai crystals, and so like I'll take it. And I can reorder this as well, where on the left side is like higher priority. This, I believe, is Assassin Sarah. I'm gonna put her in A tier. I'm gonna be very, very, very careful with S tier, because Assassin Sarah just buffs your damage along with melee. So every 5 hits, you're maxing your damage, or it goes up to 5 hits. And in the lead, she can give you like a 90% damage bonus, and it's really, really useful. And right next to her is actually Swordmaster Ken. He gives you a 75% damage bonus to your sword in Smokescreen, or whatever you call it, the shadow stance. So when you get a melee elimination with a ninja, you turn into a shadow, and you do extra damage with him in the lead. And that is a fantastic bonus. And I'm only not putting them in the 1 position because of Paleo Luna. I'm just going to put her right up in S tier. She gives you damage based on how much health you have. And if you pair her with the Blast from the Past team perk, she is the strongest melee buffing ninja in the entire game. It's not even a comparison, except for Deadly Blade Crash, who you might be surprised, I was going to say shocked and surprised, you might be surprised to see her in the S tier slot. We actually did the math, Chetik and I, a long time ago. There's a name you might not remember. He made Save the World videos a while back, and if you do the actual math for the amount of... So, let me back up. Deadly Blade Crash gives you damage when you crit, so extra affliction and slowed and snare damage. So you are slowing down enemies, and you are doing extra damage over time. That does actually go hand in hand with Luna's bonus. Now, it is damage over time, so I favor Luna by far, but Deadly Blade in support is phenomenal. It's just extra damage when you crit, and it's just really, really, really good damage in the lead. And I'm even going to just keep skipping to the fun stuff. Whiteout Fiona. She buffs your crit rating in support, which means a lot of times you don't necessarily want to take this as law, but if you're running a Luna build, crit rating from support means you don't always need a crit rating perk, because melees actually have a pretty high base crit rating. A lot of them 15 and 20 is pretty normal. So Whiteout Fiona is super strong. So let's get back to the fun heroes a little bit. Alchemist Sarah, she gives you health when you use your smoke bomb, and that is really good passive healing. I'm gonna put her in A tier, I think, because if you're not using coconuts and you're going solely using ninjas, that's a really good healing bonus. It's like 50 or so base health, and it's just when you smoke bomb, and that does affect teammates. It goes up a lot, and I found it to be really useful a lot of the times that I used it. So I'm gonna put her in A tier. That might be kind of controversial because she's not like a primary or anything, but it's just a really useful ability, and I wanted that to be reflected. I'm also realizing, if I'm looking at my oh, what do we have? 2 Deadly Blade crashes in here? It looks like some of this doubled up. There are absolutely 2 Deadly Blade. No, these are different color shirts. All right, so I actually have my cheat sheet here, and I'm trying to figure out Stonefoot Crash. Okay, well, which one of you is wearing the lighter blue? I think that's technically Stonefoot Crash. Stonefoot Crash, I'm pretty sure. Let's just check the game real quick. I'm pretty sure Stonefoot Crash is like impact. Oh, yeah, let's see here. Crescent Kick damage. Yikes. So Crescent Kick's not exactly topping any charts right now. Even Crescent Kick damage is still going to put her in the... Still gonna put her in the F tier. I'm not really a big fan of that one, not gonna lie. So let's go into Jurassic Ken, who on paper is really good. He buffs ability damage when he is by 20% in Blast in the Past. That unfortunately is locked to Blast in the Past, where most abilities are going to have too much of a cooldown. So in my opinion, he has like an A or S tier perk. 20% ability damage is great, but it's not exactly practical, meaning there aren't really any builds with Blast from the Past and an ability that really work other than like Dragon Slash, I guess. So I think he's an A tier perk, but for the practicality factor, I'm gonna have to put him in D. We just could not find hardly any situations where he's actually usable, and so that is just gonna be where that goes. And Joshi wants me to skip ahead and put Brawler Luna next to her. I'm gonna agree. I think Brawler Luna is the one that I was thinking of that's like a Crescent Kick impact or something. It's useless. I don't even know if I have. Oh, there she is. Yeah, Crescent Kick cooldown. My goodness, it's not a very powerful. I think Whirlwind Scorch's impact. Can I get it? 3rd time's the charm? Help me out here. There he is. Crescent Kicked impact. So once again, Fruit of the Poison Tree. Crescent Kick is just so bad that I have to put these all down here. Like, they're just so bad. Where's Brawler Luna? Is she over here? I'm not seeing her because I'm blind. But when we get to her, she'll definitely be... I think I just put her... Dude, I'm blind. It's okay. This is not Dragon Scorch, is it? He's Dragon Scorch. Dragon Scorch, Dragon Slash is one of the best abilities in the game, and very usable as a primary. I am easily going to put him in the S tier category. I do think Dragon Slash with him in the lead is a viable perk as your commander. So it's a little different. You know, he's far to the right because he's not nearly as good as Luna or the other girls, but Dragon Slash is a super powerful ability, and I think we can put Snuggle Specialist kind of in the A tier. Snuggle Specialist leaves a trail of blue fire behind your Dragon Slash. Super good ability, super useful in support. Definitely needs to be paired with Dragon Slash. The 2 and 2 go hand together. The 2 go hand in hand together, but Dragon Slash is your commander, and she's a lot better in support. So, Cloaked Shadow. Or Cloaked Star. He is like throwing stars, right? I'm just gonna put him in D tier because, you know, Fruit of the Poison Tree. Throwing stars is not exactly anything crazy. And I do believe Deimos and our Shadow here are exactly the same. So that was a starter pack hero. I expected this. So during Shadow Stance, you deal extra base damage. So seeing as these 2 guys are exactly the same, they're going to be paired together. It's a very mediocre beginner perk. If you just want some extra damage while you're in Shadow Stance, I guess. It's not a ton of damage, and I'm just going to put them in D tier. It's not useless. F is like, never touch these. They're bad. But in D tier, it's kind of, you know, there's a use for it. Let's skip ahead to... Okay, so this one's fun. Anti-Cuddle Sarah gives you energy based on melee eliminations. And that's not a top pick. There are a lot of really good energy generation heroes. Dennis is a pretty good one. You can use Fallen Love Ranger Jonesy, which is kind of her counterpart. He's essentially like the male version of the anti-whatever Valentine character. He is a commander that is a soldier. So it's not exactly, you know, going to be in our tier list here today. But extra damage or extra melee Extra energy from melee kills is super, super useful if you need her. I'm going to put that in A tier, even though it's more of a conditional situation. So she's not A tier all around, but if you're using a build that really needs a lot of energy, like ear splitter spam or surround pound spam, she's fantastic in support or the lead. So dashing here Ken, I'm going to actually put him kind of up here. I'm going to put him above Overtaker. That's not Overtaker. He is Bladestorm Enforcer. So he gives kunais a little bit of an explosion. When you use the kunai ability, dashing here drops some egg bombs, and it's useful. I'm not gonna spend too much time on it, but yeah. Here up next we got Deadly Lotus Luna. I am gonna need a refresher. I'm pretty sure she's one of the heroes that buffs like spears to some effect. She's one of the cyberpunk heroes. I might have her out on an expedition, which is usually a bad sign. Yeah, spear damage by 25% against afflicted. Yikes, that is a lot, because spears aren't very good, and the odds that they're going to be afflicted essentially needs you to have an affliction perk. I'm going to put her in D. Not useless, but nothing seriously exceptional. And I'm going to put the other guy here as well. So Piercing Lotus Edge. I don't even know his name. So he gives you spear heavy attack efficiency, which is just boy. Boy, oh boy. And Daimos, if I can find him on here. Oh yeah, there we go. Scrapper Spirit. He is exactly the same. So these two, it was a starter pack situation, and we don't need to worry about that. Same thing with Robo Ray. I'm going to need a personal refresher on what she actually does, because, I never bought the pack. Well, I literally don't know. If somebody, actually, I think she does Intergalactic Ken. Energy damage, restoring energy, right, chat? If you guys can comment down below, I'd really like the clarification on that. So that is, yeah, Intergalactic Ken, thank you. So Intergalactic Ken gives you energy based on, well, he gives you shield based on energy kills or energy damage. Again, conditional. If you're using Blast in the past, he's dead F. You don't even have a shield. But if you're somebody who needs to really be regenerating shield a lot, he's kind of a top pick and a really well pairing with Extraterrestrial Rio. But it's very conditional. I'm going to put him in C on a personal note. Even in builds where they needed him, 8.5% isn't a ton. So I'm going to put him down in C, but it could be useful. And of course, Robo Ray would be right next to him because they are the same hero. All right. I don't even know who we got here. Deadly Star Scorpion. Is that like Throwing Star? So you're going to see a rule of thumb forming here. If Beast doesn't offhand know what he does, it's usually a bad sign. Yeah, so Throwing Star Affliction. That's what I thought it was. Again, Fruit of the Poison Tree. Throwing Star is a pretty good ability. It actually does really good damage. More than you might think. It's no primary, but it's not so good that you want to support perk. If you're a noob, he's a great pick. Energy Star Affliction? Sure, why not? That could take out a Mist Monster probably. But as the game progresses and you get better and better heroes, in the late game, from my perspective, I'm going to put him in D. That is not a support perk you should ever be worried about. But it's kind of like Fleet, where if you're just starting the game, really good addition to the squad. Seriously, Fleet is fantastic. I recommend him for everybody. But as you get better and better loadouts focused more towards damage or whatever specific task you're up to, Fleet, I'm going to put him in B just because he's so universal. You just move 12.5% quicker. And depending on your use case, he could go up and down. But yeah, and I'm going to actually stick with the speed momentum here, where Dire is like S tier. We used him in Frost Knight the whole time because it was nighttime constantly. But it's not nighttime constantly in regular missions. So I'm just going to kind of put him in D. If you need him, he's nice. He's not really good for normal missions. In Frost Knight, he jumps to the top. But day to day, nothing too crazy. And in fact, the same thing kind of applies to Lynx. S tier for the Storm King. I've used her in almost every fight I've ran. But in regular missions, she's kind of like a D tier herself. Like, she gives you a 140% damage bonus when you are hovering in the kunai, which is like 4 seconds of damage. It's really nice for 4 seconds, but then it's just kind of, yeah. So I'm honestly going to put Lynx overall in C tier just to kind of squash the myth. I know a lot of public lobbies, people main Lynx thinking she's amazing. She's really not, but she's extremely good for Storm King. So I'll put her like maybe above Monks, but yeah, honestly, average. I do believe she's a C hero. Dennis, this is one where I'm going to be a little biased. I don't find myself using Dennis often. He drops burgers on the field, which give you, I believe, health and energy. I was going to go check, but I think I trust that. So it's really nice to throw him in support for whatever you need, kind of like anti-cuddle. I think I'm going to put him in A, because going and finding those burgers isn't my favorite thing to do. I don't do it. I don't use his perk myself very often, but health and energy is a really nice bonus, and it's you know what? Not too bad. I'm going to put him in A tier just because he's so universal. You can kind of throw him into any loadout, and yeah. So, and make him useful. Let's see. Dimmok Mari. This is a smoke bomb cooldown hero by 18% in support and a lot in the lead. You can spam smoke bombs a lot. I'm going to put her right next to the other smoke bomb character where they heal you. I know that smoke bombs aren't super meta, but I feel like they could be. Back in the day, Infiltrator Ken here used to buff the range by a ton. You could almost cover an entire encampment. It was very, very nice to do. You can't really do that anymore, and I think because of that, I'm going to put him and Dimmok in B. But seriously, if Smoke Bomb ever gets like a damage bonus, or if they ever buff Infiltrator to have a really big range again, trust me, Smoke Bomb is going to be something I'm going to be recommending a lot. It's also something that has a little too long of a cooldown. So Happy Holidays helps a lot, but Smoke Bombs can't really be spammed like they used to. I don't even know who this is. What character am I looking at here? Energy Thief Mari. Oh no, that's not the energy from Crescent Kick, is it? Oof. Yuck. Okay, we've talked enough about Crescent Kick. We're just going to put her down here, all right? We're just going to keep moving. We're going to put her in F and carry on. So, hero that I see used occasionally is Forged Fate. I can't remember if she is all melees or just swords. Let's go find her real quick. Forged Fate. I do have her, right? Oh, dear. It happens on occasion where I have a hero that's like in the collection book and I don't actually have her on hand. I am a little blind right here, but I'm going to go find her just to show everybody where she's at. So, Forged Fate is, I believe, a collection book here. I don't know why I wouldn't have her on hand, but maybe I'm just being blind. Yeah, I'm certain I have her. Whatever. Either way. Let's go to the inspect screen. So she gives you sword heavy attack efficiency. Yeah, that's kind of what I feared. You can't use her on any melee, which swords, you're not really using the heavy attack ever, unless it's like the Spectral Blade Lunge, and that's really not a big deal. I've seen her used in certain specific loadouts, but if you're not using one of those loadouts, I do believe she's basically F. And that is, yeah, that's, I think, where she should be. Now, got another smoke bomb hero. Freebooter Ken instantly restores your shield with a smoke bomb. And that is a really, really nice ability if you need shields. I'm going to put him right next to Intergalactic Ken because, again, in smoke bombs, you want Happy Holidays. So instantly restoring your shield could be right next to, like, what is her name? Alchemist Sarah. So I do believe healing is a little more important, and it can affect teammates. I believe his shield is instantly just applied to you. It can be a nice get out of jail free card, but I'm going to put him down here next to the other shield generation. This one could go up and down based on opinion, but again, smoke bombs are just kind of where they're at. And once again, we have a hero that I'm going to have to look up because, you know, rule of thumb, you guys, if I don't instantly know what she does, it's usually a bad sign. But let's go and find her. If I can eyeball it real quick. Yeah, Harvester Sarah. Scythe damage against slowed and snared. This is just like the spears. Damage against affliction. Like, when are you going to have a slowed and snared enemy with a scythe? I mean, I know that there's a 6 perk for it, but yikes. That is only useful if you're using scythes, but scythes are usually really bad. So I'll put her in B because she's really good for scythes, but if you're not using a scythe, she's an F. So yeah, it's kind of why I've avoided tier lists in general for a long time, because this is always a matter of opinion. But I think overall she might be a D tier, but I can see her value as a scythe hero, and there are some useful scythes. So yeah, I think B tier is safe, but yeah, hybrid, easy F. He gives you, I think, affliction. Oh my god, it's so specific. Watch this real quick. So he gives you, you can't make this stuff up. Affliction duration. What do you need affliction duration? Just shoot the enemy again. We're talking about, in my opinion, weapons that have 6-second affliction, right? So if you go to any weapon in the game that has an affliction 6 perk, I can just find them easily because I use them all the time. Let's see here, affliction right here, boom, for 6 seconds. So if you want more time, just shoot the enemy again. So it's really not useful. And if you even look at his commander perk, it's not better. Dragon Slash applies affliction, which is nice. It's not that useful, but he needs to be in the commander. And I kind of already established Dragon Scorch is definitely the best for commander when it comes to Dragon Slash. So if Hybrid did that affliction in support, I would seriously bump him straight to A. He would be right up here next to Anti-Cuddle if affliction was in support. But unfortunately, it's locked to lead, and for that, he is just easy F. Keelhaul, I'm going to put an A. What she does is, actually, I'm going to correct that. So she is a pirate that, okay, let me show you again. I know I keep going back to the game, but it's important to just clarify how specific she is and why I wanted to put her in A initially. I'm going to change my mind immediately though. What is Keelhaul's whole name? I think it's, yeah, like Swashbuckler Keelhaul. Pistol damage increases sword damage. That is really bad. She is meant to be paired with another pirate hero who I don't want to track down for the sake of time, but the two of them are supposed to go hand in hand when you're just constantly switching back between a sword and a pistol. And that is, here he is, Buccaneer Jonesy. That is not extremely useful. The reason I wanted to put her in A is because pirates are useful. However, come to think of it, she is not essential to activate the Blakebeard Stash team perk. And for that super hyper-specific support perk, I'm going to put her in F. Her ability has never been something seriously useful. It's always been her activating a team perk that is useful. So we're going to stick her in F for now, and I'm going to leave it there. Mermonster Ken gives you extra melee damage based on how much health you don't have. He's essentially the antithesis of Paleoluna, but you get so much more damage from Luna. It's not even close, and a lot of people have tried to use him, but you need your health really, really low. I'm going to put him in F. I have not been convinced that he's actually decent. And yeah, and Diamond's making a point. The whole idea between Keelhaul and Buccaneer Jonesy is to use Jack's Revenge and the Corsair. I do get that, but that is such a hyper-specific pairing, and I have tried it. It's a fun build, you know? Hey, you know what? Just for that, maybe she's like a high D tier, but it needs to be that specific loadout, or else she is pretty not great, and it's not that amazing of a build anyway. Overtaker hero, I'm literally gonna put in A. I'm gonna put him in a high A, actually. Not above Dragon Slash. We'll put him right above Anti-Cuddle. So Overtaker hero reduces kunai ability cooldown whenever you get kills with the kunai, which in the lead is an instant recovery. You can, with Happy Holidays and Overtaker in the lead, you kunai, if you kill 2 or 3 enemies, it's immediately back. You can spam kunai a ton. I made a whole video on it. It's super, super nice, and that is actually a legitimately good hero, and kunai I should probably use more often. It's more fun than I give it credit. So Igor, that is what again? I feel like every time I've ever read his perk, I went, oh, that's not good. And I think it's energy cost reduction to smoke bomb, which is pretty not great, and I am having a hard time finding him in my inventory here, but yeah, there he is. Yeah, so smoke bomb energy cost, not a big deal. Typically when you're going to be, in fact, I'm going to put him in F for the same reason that I'm going to put Sarah Hotep in B. Actually, no, I'm going to put her right up next to these ones, because when you are using Dragon Scorch in the lead, you are going to be using your Dragon Slash to clear out a bunch of enemies. You're going to turn around, throw a throwing star at a mist monster. You're going to drop your smoke bomb, and all of those abilities take a lot of energy. And with Sarah Hotep reducing your Dragon Slash energy cost by 30%, it's actually cheap enough to use all of your abilities before you run out of energy. Igor helping with smoke bomb is nice, but it's not quite enough. I have never found him useful in a build. Even in a smoke bomb loadout, the cooldown for the smoke bomb is sufficient enough to where it's coming back around anyway. And if you're running out of energy, Sarah Hotep is just more bang for your buck. So yeah, F might be a little biased here. Maybe he can go up and down based on somebody finding a use for him, but I think that's a fair point for him. And then we got a nice little fun hero. So Razor from the Battle Breaker set gives you an extra little couple of daggers that go alongside your kunai. It's pretty not great. I'll put her in C, because those kunais can like insta-kill a mist monster in certain zones. It's not phenomenal, but yeah, we'll put her in high C. No, not even that high. We'll put her right above Freebooter. Why not? It's not super useful. What do we got here? Oh no, why do I not recognize this hero? So again, I'm just looking over my cheat sheet over here and trying to match the faces. Shuriken Master Sarah. I think she gives you an extra shuriken. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. Shuriken, again, fruit of the poison tree. It's pretty strong, but not strong enough. She'll make an appearance if they ever buff shurikens. I'll bring her up, but unfortunately not going to be too big of a deal. Same thing with Skirmisher Edge. I believe he is Affliction. I thought that was somebody else. What does Skirmisher Edge do? Is that shuriken energy cost? I think yeah, it's the energy cost. Not the most useful. Again, both of these are going to be right next to each other because they're very, very similar abilities. Yeah, Stoneheart Farah, I've never really heard of her. I'll just put her in F. So we have Swift Shuriken Lamarai. He, again, shurikens, you know, I think he makes them throw in like a fan of stars or whatever, so we're just going to put him down here. Venturion gives you Crescent Kick extra damage. It's pretty not amazing. Crescent Kick, again, if it got a buff, he could easily be A tier, but from my experience, I was going to make a video on him, but he did so little damage, I wanted to cry. So we're just going to put him in D and move on from there. And I think we are down to 2 heroes remaining. Apparently, Dimmak Mari has the red scarf, and a different hero has the white scarf. I'm just going to go through this with you guys together, because I am blind. Oh my goodness. The monkey stream is over. I can make an appearance in my own video. Hello, friends. All right, so we got Thunderstrike Mari. What does she even do? Again, the rule of thumb, if I don't know what she does, it's usually a bad sign. When your shield depletes, you stun and knock back enemies. I've had people try to convince me that's good. I'm going to give that an F. I see no point in that. Is chat done being trolled? All right, Pharah is easily right up here next to Luna. One of the best heroes in the entire game. Who is better, Luna or Pharah, is a disgusting comment, because it's just bow, area of effect damage, or melee. It's completely, like, if they could be tied, I would tie them. Pharah is phenomenal. Just an insanely good hero, and easily deserving of the S tier. And Fumble, I'm going to put in A tier. He's no commander, but he drops the footballs that activate the Rock and Riff ability, which just buffs your damage and melee speed. Really well paired with Luna. I actually use them together a lot, but he's no commander, so I'll just put him down here next to like Alchemist Sarah. Super good support. And that caps off our list. Thank you guys so much for watching. I can't believe that only like 49 ninjas took me this long to get through, but I try to be helpful and informative. I'm glad that I'm at a point in my channel when I can even make a video like this, because honestly, learning the heroes in Fortnite Save the World was one of the biggest undertakings in my life, and you can see still I don't know what they all do instantly by face, because frankly, some heroes I talk about every day like Pharah, and then other heroes like Brawler Luna never get talked about at all. So that's where the rule of thumb comes in. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys might want to see. I'll link this template down below if you guys want to share your own results. Discord, you guys can go ahead and post what you guys think. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Welcome back to another tier list. I do these occasionally on my channel. They're a little bit of fun, nothing to take super seriously, but it allows me to talk about a certain section of the game. Thank you to Archer for setting this one up. First and foremost, before we get into it, if I make any if I forget any of these heroes or make any mistakes in that way, I am going to be defaulting to D tier, because I had to research a lot of these constructors because I forgot what they did, and that is because Plasma Pulse, Decoy, Bull Rush, and Rosie are fairly not great abilities, and most of the heroes I forgot had something to do with that. For example, we can just stick those in there. Now, I'm going to start with the easy S tiers. Base Kyle and Power Base Nox and Penny are insane. He buffs your build by 80%, and Power Base heals it by 11% every 10 seconds. These two pair great together. If you have a teammate running one of these, somebody else should be running the other in the lead. Or if you have any of these heroes as your commander, he should be in support. Both of these should be in support for every build, and that includes if you're running someone like Mega Base. Mega Base increases the base size by 3 in every direction, which adds up to be a lot, and 1 in support. Really good just to make your base bigger overall. It's the most basic awesome bonus there can be, other than health. And he also gives you the supercharged traps ability. By being a mythic constructor in the base game set, supercharged traps buffs all of your traps based on how many constructors you have in support. It's a really good team perk. So these are, in my opinion, like the big 3 core constructors. These fit well into any base loadout in the game, so from there we're basically just having fun. So let's go from left to right. 8-bit Demo, I am putting in A tier. He's not universal enough to be S tier, but he gives you a 20% chance for rocket launchers not to consume ammo, and that is nuts. He should absolutely be paired, if possible, with Demolitionist Penny, who buffs your rockets by 17% in support, 50% in the lead. I use her in the Mythic Storm King fights. Extremely strong, because we're using the Storm King's Wrath or the Pot Shot. They both get buffed, and the two of these should be in the same loadout, but aren't always, because I like to run him with a Warcry build. She's the Warcry lead is a soldier, so she's not going to be in our list, but whew, that is a really nice build, but it requires a lot of cooldown for Warcry, so Demolitionist doesn't always fit. That said, yeah, those two are very great for buffing launchers. Bomb Suit Kyle, I don't think he's that useful personally, but a lot of people value him. I'll put him in A tier because he just gives you extra armor and support, and it's just nice. I mean, you just die less. I mean, he fits into any loadout in the entire game. Straight up. Any loadout. Doesn't even need to be a constructor build. Ankylo Kyle, easy F tier, because he gives you health from certain conditions. I don't even know, dude. Let me find it. Ankylo Kyle, because I'm going to be pulling up my collection book a lot here. Let's go to the historic heroes. Yep, find him. What's he doing here again? Kinetic Overload heals you. Yeah, Kinetic Overload is not that strong. I've had a lot of people swear by him, but I have just never seen the value in that. So this is my tier list. I'm putting him in F. It's really not that useful. Who is useful is Arlene Iza. She gives you health based on melee life leech. I'll put that in B tier. I'll put that, I don't know. Archer wants me to put it in A. I'm going to put it in B tier. It's never blown me out of the water, but if you are running a crit build melee and you're running like, you know, totally rocking out or something, she can be a really, really great support perk to heal you throughout the entire fight. I'm putting her in B because she is not the best healing option in the game. Do I even have to remind everybody coconuts exist? But she is super good for those melee builds, and depending on your loadout, she could be an S tier, you know, critical to staying alive. But I think as a general standpoint, she stacks at about a B in the healing, you know, department. Birthday Brigade, I think I don't even know, Plasma Pulse situation. I'm going to put her in D. Like I said, I'm not going to waste time looking up every single hero. Constructor, I think it was Bull Rush or something. I'm going to get rid of a lot of heroes that did not impress me. Magnus buffs your Rosie turret as it stacks up over time. That's honestly a C tier. Him and Earhart are both C tier because Rosie, you know, 25% from Earhart, pretty good. But Rosie's not an ability you should be like crutching on or anything. It's pretty good for like against mini bosses, but it's not anything insane. Controller Harper reduces the cooldown of the what am I trying to think of here? Decoy. Thank you for following, Dazus. He's decoy damage. Is he decoy damage? Okay, this is where we're gonna have to consult because I just did like a cram session prior to recording this, and it's ridiculous how many heroes I had to memorize. He is what are we looking for here? We're looking for the holiday section, right? No. Where is he? I always forget these heroes. Somebody help me, chat, because okay, there are so many constructors in this game that is just they're not that useful, and they're not heroes that we use very often, so they honestly just get forgotten about, and that is what's happening here. I'm very, very, very well educated in this game, but these are like the dark, shadowy corner heroes that we barely ever touch, and that's why I thought this would make a fun tier list. Yeah, Decoy deals 6 base damage. I was thinking about the Krampus guy. My apologies, I got a couple of these mixed up. I'm going to put Krampus in his spot, and Decoy doing 6 base damage is really not huge. I'll put him in low C tier next to Controller Harper, who reduces the decoy cooldown, because decoy can be very useful, but it's not insane. And there is an insane one that we did find. Was it Riot Response? Because there was a hero that did 51 base damage from a decoy explosion, and that is actually a lot. Like, that's considerable for a support perk, but I literally can't even remember which hero that was. I'm gonna rely on chat. You know, it was Kyle the 13th. No, it wasn't. There's so many freaking heroes that I've never even touched before on this list, and it's driving me nuts. Saboteur? I don't know, man. I think it was Saboteur. So Kyle the 13th is the decoy reflection. Saboteur is going to be one in the cyber. This is going to be a much more casual video than usual, you guys. Like I'm saying, Saboteur Bull. So he's a hero that I've never actually used before, but after looking at this, decoy exploding dealing 51 base damage is huge. Like 51 is a lot of damage, and considering that every enemy is going to be huddled around your decoy by the end of its lifespan, that's a pretty good perk. And for that purpose, I might even put him like all the way. Where was he? Is this Saboteur Bill? I was literally just looking at him. I hate this so much, you guys. I feel like a kid who's like taking a test. This is crazy. Oh my god. I'll put him in low B tier because that 51 base damage is huge. I am going to put Krampus up there alongside. Did I already tier him? Dude. This is crazy. All right, Guardian Bill. No, what? Not Guardian Bill. Black Knight Garridan is a D tier easily because Kinetic Overdrive is not that great. I'm going to put the Pirate guy in A tier as well because let me get into this. His team perk is Blakebeard Stash, and Blakebeard Stash is insanely strong. That is such a good kit, and his cannonball damage, while not insanely useful, 20% isn't mind-blowing, he is paired with a team perk that is extremely meta, so I'm putting him up there as one of the best heroes in the game. And another one that's interesting to consider is a Privateer Bull. She's kind of essential in that loadout, so I'll put her in A, but mark my words, she gives you club damage 17%. It's the only club damage hero in the game, and she's critical to making this build good, but without Blakebeard's stash, she'd probably be like D tier. I'm going to put her up here just because the pirates are that strong. And while we're getting into that, let's get into, I don't know, we can just start from the left here. What is the name of this one again? I know what she does, but I don't know what she's called. I got my cheat sheet. Dark Vanguard Earhart. She gives you heavy attack energy reduction from hardware, which is useful in the right loadout. I'll put her in low B tier because I've seen it used for like spamming surround pound and stuff, but I think a perk does the same thing, and it's just not that great. We're just going to move on from that because, you know, it's a situational build and I don't value it very high. Let's do controller. This is Machinist. Machinist Harper. She gives you trap durability. Absolute S tier for endurance, but this is my tier list. You'll note I'm not an endurance player. I'm going to put her as an even low B tier just to balance it out. I don't want to upset everybody, but I don't see the value in her in regular missions. She is not necessary whatsoever. But in endurance, it's the only time she's useful. So this is where tier lists get a little murky. I'm also going to put, I think, this is the, no, Gadgeteer was Kevin Bot, right, chat? Help me out. This was Machinist as well. Yeah, I think that's her starter pack hero. Archer mistakenly put those in here, but that's okay. They are reskins of each other. I'm gonna split the difference with the low B tier. Dennis, all right, for unlocking Totally Rockin' Out, he's S tier, but that's more of a Totally Rockin' Out ranking. Axe eliminations causing the Totally Rockin' Out to be active is not very useful, but I ranked Blakebeard the same way, so I'll put him in S tier. But trust me, this is a Totally Rockin' Out S tier. He's necessary for the team perk, so you need him for it, but his perk on its own is kind of useful if you're running axes, but it's not that great. Let's go to, yeah, Director Riggs. I'm gonna put him in F tier. I'm sorry, they tried so hard to make, well, you can put Going Constructor away early now, so that means he's less annoying. So let me just back up all the way. He gives you 20 extra seconds in Going Constructor in the lead, 10% in support. That used to be a deficit because you'd be stuck in Going Constructor for 20 extra seconds, but you can put it away early, which is not, it's not a very good, I mean, we'll put him in D. It's whatever. Eddie, I'm gonna put in F. He gives you crits from energy weapon damage, goes into like shields or something. It's not, if you need to generate shields, there are other options. I'll put him in like D because he's kind of useful sometimes, but yeah. Electropulse, all right, A tier. Electropulse makes it so that when enemies damage your base, they do damage to themselves, and that is A tier for AFKing V-Bucks and just extra damage overall. It's not a lot of damage, otherwise it'd be S tier, but it's that's kind of it. You know, her doing damage is kind of not great. And Thunder Thora is sort of the same deal. Like, she just does damage when enemies are walking on the base. It's nice extra damage, allows you to AFK V-Bucks, but it's not, you know, and I say V-Bucks is in super low tier missions if you're a max level player. It's fun, but not great. Ice King, on the other hand, easy S tier constructor because he freezes enemies when they attack your base in the lead, and they walk slower in support. I use him in support a lot, but if you run him in the commander slot, it's really, really well paired with base Kyle and power base. If three of you are running these three characters, you're not gonna have walls that are breaking. It's nuts. All right, let's continue on with the heroes I know so that I can do all the research later. Iza, easy S tier. She is essentially one of the best heroes, well, in my opinion, the best hero for support in Blast from the Past because she gives you 30 extra armor. It's wild. It is a lot harder to die with her in support, and I've noticed it when I take her out of support. So easy S tier. I even supercharged her because I put her in that many loadouts. Nox drops landmines behind your bull rush. It's super gimmicky. He's an A tier for fucking around and having a good time. Low C tier for actual usable damage. It's not that strong, honestly closer to D tier, but he's fun, so there's that. Guardian Bull, I believe is what he's called, is you know what, I'll put him in like high A tier for the same reason Demolitionist Penny is up there. And if I can find, okay, so there are a lot of shared pictures, like pennies, for example, all look the same to me. Tank Penny. These give you hardware damage, or hardware crit rating, sorry, and hardware damage from Tank Penny. Very, very, very good for Storm King because you want your hardware to do extra damage against the Horn. And that's pretty much it. If you're not running Storm King, they're not that great, unless you're running a hardware build, of course. But it is it is really, really good to run Storm King to get some of the best weapons in the game. So for that use case, I'm putting them in A tier, but your mileage may be a lot further down. If you're never running hardware, they're useless. Heavy base Kyle essentially stacks up damage when enemies are killed on the base, and then every once in a while explodes, dealing damage to everything on the base. He is essentially the same thing as our girls up here. They just make your base do damage, and it's really, really strong. It's not a world-changing amount of damage, but it is really nice to have in support, so I'm putting them up there. I'm going to stick to the heroes I recognize at face value, because from here, Steel Bull Sid, he gives you extra kinetic overdrive damage, which is right next to Black Knight Garridan. It's not that useful. It's nice for him to activate like the boom base ability, but that's pretty much it. We're not talking about boom base here, unfortunately. Let's get into, was this heavy? No, who is this? Power base Kyle. Does he do the same thing as that? No, I think he's I don't think he's a base game hero. Can somebody in chat correct me? I don't think power base, heavy base is the base game, like the actual reskin. You put him in the yeah, okay. I'm gonna leave him down here unless you can tell me what perk he does, because that's not a hero that's regularly in the game. Base MD, I want to say, is like low C tier. No, you know what? D tier. And frankly, because it gives you so little health, it's irrelevant. But if it gave you more health, it would be so nice to just... He's power base Nox? Okay, so I'll tie him right up here. Oh yeah, I recognize him. I have that hero. My goodness. But he's a reskin. Base MD is really good in terms of like healing. It's a nice thing to have, but it's so little health that it basically doesn't matter, and that's kind of it. Kyle the 13th does damage when enemies attack your decoy. I'll put him up here with the decoy heroes. This is Controller Harper, right? Yeah. So he's nice for that, but otherwise, let's get into all of these down here. Like Power Pop, giving you totally rocking out. So I think pretty much every hero remaining is to do with like Rosie and abilities that aren't that good, or you know. Tank, which I think is his name, Tank, has been broken or useless since day one. I am going to do a flat drop of every single one of these being in D tier, because they're just, every time I looked these up prior to recording this, all of these were let down. All of these heroes were just kind of not great, and nothing that I would really... Actually, I think Sleuth, no, let me double check this, because there is an actual decent one. Let me go to, not starter pack, so we want event people, please. We want to go to Art Deco. There we are. Yeah, I was thinking of Noir. Sleuth is different. He's yeah, Rosie fire rate increase. It's really not that insane, but your mileage may vary with some of these last ones. I know I'm kind of taking the lazy route, but again, here's my deal. If I don't immediately recognize a hero, that's a bad sign. And I've been playing this game for a very, very long time, and if none of these heroes immediately stand out to me, I did double check these before recording. They were all within the realm of D tier, and I do fairly well stand by my selections here. So there you go, the Constructor tier list. More to talk about than I thought we'd have. A little hiccup in the middle. I hate not knowing what I'm talking about when it comes to some of these videos, but we are talking about some of the worst heroes in the game, so hopefully you could forgive me for forgetting that section of the game. Comment down below on what tier list you guys would like to see next. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to Archie for setting this up. I'll see you guys in the next one, and take it easy. All right, a long-awaited tier list. I have no idea when this is going out, because as of recording, I have 8 videos scheduled to go on the channel. I will, a lot of those are trap guides, certainly not all, but I will try to get this out at a reasonable time. Regardless, Outlanders were highly requested. If you guys don't know, I've been doing tier lists. These are just for fun. These are all my, very informed, but my opinion. I have seen that lots of expert players have weighed in on the tier lists I've made, and every single person is going to have a different list. I'll try to explain myself clearly. Just know that if I don't put any of your favorite heroes in S tier, it doesn't mean they're bad. The actual tier list does not exist in-game. It's all circumstantial, and it depends on your playstyle. For your playstyle, you might think Cyberclops is the S tier best hero in the entire game. I don't agree with that. However, personally, I don't think Cyberclops holds its own in the end game. It's pretty all right in the mid to late, but in the 164 players, if you're running Cyberclops, we might laugh at you. So that's why I'd put him in like the A or B tier. So that kind of stuff is gonna happen, and I don't want people to get upset and not realize that this is just for fun, and it's just my opinion. All right. So, since we started off with Cyberclops, I am going to put him in the high A tier. I think he's a very versatile, very useful hero. With the right loadout, you can get a 3-second cooldown on that. Like I just explained, personally, I'm not putting him in S tier. This is an informed opinion. We tested him recently. It's not S tier. So, all right. Let's continue on with the top left. Ambush Buzz. If I'm not mistaken, I just looked at some of these heroes. If I'm not mistaken, was Ambush the one that did the... Some of these I'm not even going to know, and typically that's a bad sign. If there's a hero I'm not aware of, it's because eliminating 6 enemies in 10 seconds gives you an extra phase shift charge. That is not that useful. I have used her in dungeon loadouts for like a quicker cooldown and more charges, but it's like a D tier. I think that's a very situational perk that's not that important. I'm going to get rid of a couple of S tiers right away. You know, is that more fun? No, let's go slowly. Archaeologist, easy S tier. I mean, she is a fundamental farming hero. She reduces the anti-material punch, that charge punch cost, and that's... I don't think anybody, you know, I'm going to put her right next to... No, we'll get Fossil Southie up there later. Azealia Clark gives you 15.5%, I believe it's ability energy damage. Let me get that exact, just so that we're all on the same page. Ability energy damage, 15.5%. It's pretty okay. It's not one of the bigger buffs in the entire game, and it's strictly ability energy. I'll put her in high B tier for now, just because it's a nice perk to have. It's one you don't want to forget about, but it's not some fundamental game-changing perk. Her commander perk makes your shock tower explode, which is arguably not even that good, and the team perk she provides is very useless in our current state of the game. So I'm going to put her in B tier for now, very mediocre. I'm going to put Beetlejuice in S tier because she buffs your SMG and AR crit damage by 75% in support, 225% in the lead. That is insane. It's really strong, and that's all I want to say about that. It's just a fundamental hero to the game. Who is not a fundamental hero is Bloodfinder AC. Let me just double check. That's damage from anti-material charge, correct? Yes, so it's not... We've tried. I've tried putting him in loadouts. It's like a D here. It's not that much damage. Anti-material charge is fairly weak in our current state of the game, and... yeah, if you can find a use for him, go ham, but I was not impressed at all. Clip, again, S tier. She just gives you more loot for the same amount of farming. It's the easiest win we've ever seen. She is probably one of the best heroes ever added to the game, in the entire game. Not even just an Outlander S tier list, but like in the whole game. So she gives you, I don't know, Cottontail Eagle Eye gives you, I just checked her name, gives you exploding egg bombs after phase shift, or like right when you phase shift. It's pretty good. I'll put her in C. Again, you're not exactly, she's a reskin of old hero from pre-work. What are we talking about? Shock tower already sucks. The explosion. Okay. Archer's yelling about Azealia, I think. I don't know. I don't want to get distracted. She gives you explosions when you phase shift. It's pretty all right. I've used it in like dungeon speedrunning, but it's, you know, yeah, C tier. All right, so Crossbones Barrett, I mentioned him in essentially every video ever because coconuts are insane. If you don't know about coconuts somehow, then let's get into it quick. You can research him without a voucher, which is a major win. He gives you a 20% chance to find coconuts. They give you essentially, I think it's roughly 30% of your health instantly. You can hold it in your hotbar. It does replace a weapon. I know, looting it's a little annoying. Max Pug, thank you for following. But that healing, I know. How could I suggest that coconuts are good? But that healing is insanely good. It heals you over the course of another 30 seconds. It's so nice. And it gives you a 16% damage bonus. As if the insane healing wasn't enough, it gives you a freaking damage bonus, which affects abilities. So that'll buff your minigun, your shock tower, not your Teddy, because Teddy's kind of bugged. It should buff your Teddy, but it doesn't. You know, Dragon Slash, all that. Coconuts are stupid good. Stupid good. They improve every loadout they're in. Tex, thank you for following. I record these in my stream overlay because I do this stuff with Twitch, but I know it does interrupt the video a little bit. Sanguine Dusk, my old queen, used to use her all the time. Then the hero rework came around, and she heals you when you phase shift through enemies. I am going to go ahead and turn off alerts for this video. Stiv, thank you for following. At least the audio. So she gives you healing when you phase shift through an enemy. It's not that much. I'll put her in C because she's a pretty mediocre hero. You don't want to forget she exists, but if they ever buff how much damage, if they ever buff how much health she gives you, she does actually damage the enemies. That's the vampiric effect, but it's not a lot. If they ever buff that, that's an insanely good hero. And I am going to be regarding phase shift as stronger than you might think in this game, simply because of Chaos Agent. I know that this is situational depending on your playstyle, but being able to instantly reload makes any hero related to phase shift very useful if he's in your loadout. I try to look at like the grand scheme of the game when it comes to stuff like that. So even if you're not using Chaos Agent, I think it's not a good thing to forget that he exists. So Enforcer Grizzly is also the exact same as Jingle Jess. These two heroes are identical, and for that matter, Metal Team Leader is a starter pack hero. These are all the exact same hero. They buff your health, they buff your Teddy duration by 12 seconds in the lead, 4 seconds in support, and it's really strong. Again, my words about Teddy should explain why they're not in S tier, but A tier is definitely where they belong, because that infinite uptime Teddy is nuts. I made a whole video on it. I'll maybe try to remember to link it below. There would be a lot of links in the description if I linked every video related to Outlanders, but I made a video on speedrunning encampments and how to get the most BR XP. It was essentially a long video dedicated to Teddy builds, and I will also add before we move on, Metal Team Leader, yeah, pay to win is slightly more overall health and like Teddy damage than these two. I don't know why. It's not that much, but she is technically just a direct upgrade, even if it's only slight. So that's something to know. I am going to go... that sound alert's still going. I am going to go ahead and put Field Agent Rio in D tier. She gives you like a phase pulse every time you shoot sometimes. It's not that much. I've heard people who tried to make her useful, but I'm only going to put her in D tier because Red Willow belongs in F tier. In fact, Archer went ahead and specifically updated this tier list with an F slot because Outlanders are so good in this game. I think there's only like maybe one hero that regards F. She gives you damage after you phase shift, and it's such a disgustingly low amount of damage that it's unusable. If they, again, ever buff that damage, Red Willow could be an insane hero, but they haven't. So in our current state of the game, F is where she belongs. Fireflower Eagle Eye, another D tier. She gives you fireworks after phase shift. It's pretty not strong. It's fun, but nothing super serious. Flash AC, however, I'm going to put in A tier. It's a little high. It's a little high. But he shortens the cooldown of phase shift, and it's so good. I use him for dungeon speedrunning. And if you're running a loadout that's activating, you know, the reload with Chaos Agent, and you're taking advantage of that, phase shift in general is really good for getting around the map. So he's fantastic for mobility, speedrunning dungeons, activating Chaos Agent, and it's just so good. It's such a universal perk. It's very, 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 very good for A tier. Archer wants me to put Fragment Flurry in S tier. So again, I don't think any hero related to Teddy is necessarily deserving of S tier. High A tier, yes. Extremely useful, no doubt. All the Teddy lovers out there, I see you. I know how strong Teddy is. S tier Archer, I don't know about that. I know that she affects Teddy and Shock Tower, but S tier, I don't know. High A tier for sure. Fragment Flurry is great. She, for those of you who don't know, give you a fragment charge, which is for Teddy and Shock Tower, reduces their cooldown and makes them use no energy when you activate them. And I know, seriously, she gives you one of those every 13 eliminations. So if you're getting constant kills and she's in your commander slot, it's an extremely infinite Teddy and Shock Tower for that matter. So it's a really, really good hero, but S tier, I don't know. When Southie's up there in S tier, it's kind of hard to do that. Now, Southie, Archaeologist, and Clip are essentially your big three farming heroes, in my opinion. I say my opinion because Pathfinder will come into play in a little bit. These are your three anti-material charge heroes. Either one of these can go in high S. I don't think any one of these is better than the other. They all have their use case. I will put Archaeologist in the bottom, though, because Clip just buffs overall farming material loot. It's super useful. Southie, giving you constant energy generation, is useful for way more than just farming, by the way. He is really, really good for spamming certain melees that use heavy attacks, and his constant energy generation is great for that. And it makes him more universal than just farming, but yeah, S tier is exactly where he belongs. Gumshoe is right next to Fragment Flurry. Gumshoe gives you a 30% damage bonus to fragment abilities, and I'm going to clear something up real quick. So, 3 of the S tiers are farmers. Yeah, this game is expensive. I've been making trap guides on my channel. I'm gonna back up a bit just to defend this point. I've been making trap guides on my channel, and I've been getting some saltier than I would have expected comments, I know, regarding how many materials and traps I use in my tunnels. I don't necessarily do ultra efficient, best tunnels you could ever create in these videos. They're more or less basic guides on how to do your tunnels. And you will never, ever, ever not need traps. So farming is a fundamental part of this game. And in the way that I view it, it's basically your quote-unquote money makers. You know, in real life, how money is essentially something we need to survive in our world. Anything that is related to making money would be an S tier, you know. So anyway, farming is too fundamental. All of them are S tier. Let me back up again. So Gumshoe gives you a 30% damage bonus to fragment abilities. That is Shock Tower and Teddy. As far as I'm aware, this is all secondhand information. It has been tested to find that you don't actually need to have a fragment to get that 30%. So she is essentially a flat 30% to Shock Tower and Teddy always. That is insanely good if you're running a Teddy build and is very deserving of that A tier slot. All right, Gunblazer Southie. So this is S tier damage, but depending on how you use him. Let me show you what's going on here, and why I'll explain why I don't love him. So Gunblazer Southie gives you a whopping 105% damage bonus for 4 seconds after a phase shift, and it's a lot. But phase shift means you are every 4 seconds, mind you, constantly resetting your position. You have to re-aim at your targets, you know, get back on track. You're jarring yourself constantly. And he's only really practical in a specific loadout where you're using, let me actually just show it. If you go to the team perk options, there is a loadout, team perk option, let me find it, shifting gears, where it essentially decreases your range and gives you more fragment charges for phase shift depending on how many Outlanders you're using, and that range decrease can make him a little more practical. However, that one loadout is not I don't think that's worthy of any kind of S tier treatment. So I'll say he's a really good A tier hero. I'm not putting this in any super specific order. I'm just gonna put him in a low A tier, I guess. He's super useful if you're utilizing shifting gears and Chaos Agent, but in general, I don't know about S tier. I want to put him high up because I see his merit, but yeah. Jilly Teacup, she gives you instant crit or 100% crit on your first shot with Teddy. I'll just throw her up here with the other Teddy heroes because Teddy's nuts. Akuna Matata makes it so that when you use your Seismic Smash, it stuns enemies. It's whatever, C tier. Useful if you're running Seismic Smash. Not really a support perk unless you're running a Seismic Smash loadout. It's not a big deal. I will put Mainstage Quinn in a surprising S tier. Any hero that activates Totally Rockin' Out is S tier in my opinion. It's a very, very useful ability, and I don't know what else to say. Impossibility Matrix essentially means whenever you're using a fragment, it reduces the cooldown of your abilities by 10%. Very useful. Throw them up there with the Teddy heroes because anything related to Teddy is A tier easily. Also, those wafers don't necessarily just activate Totally Rockin' Out. They activate Rockin' Rift, so she'll up your damage and attack speed even if you're not running the team perk. It's super useful. Not my personal playstyle, but I'm not naive to what she's capable of. All right. Awalry, the one who's been asking me how dare you the whole video, really wants Parasword Jess in S tier. And we talked about this prior to recording. So to catch everybody up, because I like to explain this as though you guys know nothing, because some noobs watch my videos and you might enjoy this explanation. I know. Parasword Jess gives you 7.2% of your max health when you use an ability. And that is not reliant on Blast from the Past being active. She is a dinosaur. She does activate the team perk, but that means phase shift. When you can spam phase shift a lot and she can constantly heal you. It's very, very useful. I actually threw together a loadout. This is kind of a freebie for you guys while we were talking about this prior to recording, and this is kind of what I came up with. You got Ranger Deadeye, really good Outlander. I supercharged him for the Teddy and Seismic Smash damage. He's got phase shift, of course. Blast from the Past build because we're using Parasword Jess, and 7.2% of max health is 3 times higher when you have Blast from the Past active, so the more health you have, the better she is. Iza's insane. You don't need Iza. This is kind of a running around, flying around the map build, so you could probably throw in, you know, Rex Jonesy, but this is just for the sake of conversation. We commented that Rex Jonesy's 3% of your health isn't that much, and Coconut's, the damage part, isn't that insane either. So Parasaur Jess in support means you can run Chaos Agent so that you are healing yourself and instantly reloading your weapon when you're low on ammo. You can run, you know, a little bit of assault crit damage from Sledgehammer. Pro tip, by the way, Sledgehammer is overall higher base stats than, let me see, Beetle Jess. So he's actually just better than Beetle Jess, even though they essentially have the exact same ability. She gives you pistol and SMG crit damage. He gives you SMG and assault weapon damage. So I'm assuming you're using an SMG in this build because that pairs best with Chaos Agent, but just know that pistols are another option. And then, of course, we got Gunblazer in support. So in specific loadouts where you're maximizing the utilization of Phase Shift, Soaring Instinct can be really good. And I only say Phase Shift because it's kind of the only ability in the game that can really make her super viable. I guess Grenades and Kunai Spam are good as well, but I will give her an easy A tier bump. Again, I'm just leaving all the Teddy stuff in a row. I'll just put her in low A tier. It doesn't really matter. This isn't... They're all A tier. They're equal in my eyes. She is extremely useful if utilized properly, but I'm going to have to disagree with Aori on the S tier there. Look at the amount of A and S tier heroes. I'm telling you, Outlanders are super strong. All right, Pathfinder Jess. She gives you a massive damage bonus to pickaxes, 50% more damage. And if you've seen gameplay where you're using her, where I was using her in my farming loadouts video, you can like two-shot trees and rocks, and it's super useful. In my opinion, she is kind of an all-in-one hero, and she's base game. So if you're brand new to the game, you're not going to have Southie, Arc Jess, and Clip here. You're just not going to have these S-tier farming heroes. Pathfinder Jess has the phase shift to get around, the anti-material charge to break stuff instantly, and that extra pickaxe damage makes her just an all-in-one fantastic hero. I will actually put her in S tier, unironically. She gets, again, once you get later on in the game, she gets outclassed by a proper farming loadout, but if you're new to the game, Pathfinder Jess could be one of the first heroes you pick up, and she is just great for getting started. So I'm going to say S tier. I know... As a late game player, she's kind of pointless to me. But if you're just starting and she's your only option, or if you want to farm, but you also want to be useful, and instead of a bunch of support perks with farming heroes, you want damage perks, she could be a great pick. So there you go. Now, we got an interesting pick here. This is Phase Scout Jess. She is actually a mythic Outlander that gives you the team perk for that shifting gears I mentioned earlier. That team perk is, of course, factored into my decision here, and the fact that it's a really good team perk makes her solid. I don't think Phase Shift charges as much as I've given credit to Phase Shift. It's a very good ability on its own. You don't necessarily need the charges. I'm going to allow her to populate the B tier next to our other mythic hero. It's a good team perk. She gives you an extra charge with Phase Shift. It's not super insane, but it's nice to have. Ragnarok, going to put him right next to the other Seismic Smash hero. He just sends it back and forth. It's not super serious. I'm just going to leave that where it is. Ranger Deadeye. You might have noticed I supercharged him. Yeah, that's an easy S tier hero. He is insanely good. That 50% damage is nuts, and he also has a Teddy and shifting, I'm sorry, and phase shift to get her on the map, and a Seismic Smash, which is super strong. I know, seriously, Dark Out, I stand by it. Definitely an S tier hero. Ranger Deadeye is nuts. I believe this is Recon Scout Eagle Eye. That is a 30% movement speed bonus. Let me double check that because I haven't used this hero in a long time. Recon Scout Eagle Eye is 30% movement speed. Again, useful, nice to have. B tier. Definitely a good hero. Don't forget she exists, but not a game-defining hero in my opinion. I also believe this is Shock Specialist AC. No, there was a hero that was identical to her. We might get down to that later on. There could be a couple of repeats in here. Just wanted to mention that in advance. This is, what is her name? Shock Blaster Buzz. I found out that she is Shock Tower Impact, which is going to be joining Red Willow in the F tier. I don't actually have a copy of her. That is how bad she is. I have her in the collection book and nowhere else. I don't care because Shock Tower already has a really good impact. It doesn't need more, and she is very useless. I'm just gonna leave her down there. Shock Specialist AC, I always forget. I probably already checked. He's like, let me find out. Shock Specialist AC. What am I missing here? Do I not have a copy of him? There we go. Shock Tower damage. Okay, that's actually better than I thought. We're going to put him in C tier. Definitely a don't forget about him hero, but Shock Tower does pretty good damage, and I'm actually going to mention Wild Fragment Deadeye because he gives Shock Tower affliction damage, which on average is just more overall damage. It's just over time instead of instant. I think these two are really good. Shock Tower is a great support perk. It could be B tier if you're running a Cyberclops build. I don't want to water down how good Shock Tower is. I'm going to use them to populate the C tier, but trust me, it could be B tier depending on your mood. I don't know. They're both very good. This is Shotgunner Grizzly. Okay, why do I always forget? Yeah, dashing through enemies stuns them. It's useful, extremely niche. You don't usually need it. D tier. If he's what you need, great pick, but you know, in the overarching whole of the game, I think D tier is probably a pretty good spot for him. All right, Teddy laser beams. I saw a lot of people defending Stare Down Stealthy a lot in the Discord. Every 2 seconds, getting a little bit of energy damage is pretty not great. I'm gonna put him in like high C tier, but I'm not convinced. You know what? No, that's right next to Cottontail. I know how much damage she does, and I know how much Shock Tower. No, I'm putting him in D tier. It's nice. It's some extra damage, but there are so many other Teddy options that it's just not a good pick. So this is what happens when you record right after eating an entire sandwich, and I'm burping a lot. So yeah, it was a good sandwich. Steel Anthony, typically if I don't know what they do, this is a bad sign. Oh yeah, Seismic Smash leaves a pulsing bit of damage at the end. It's, yeah, I'm gonna put him in, honestly, I'm gonna put him in F tier. It's okay, it's not that much damage, and it's super improbable that any enemy is just gonna be at the end of your Seismic Smash for long enough for him to do anything. Typically, Seismic Smash has a pretty good impact along with the damage, and it's just sending enemies away. It's not very useful. It's super hard to get any real practical use out of him, and I think F tier is perfectly fine. Striker AC is going to be S tier easily. Oh, wait. It's not 2018. Yeah. So, I believe... What is he doing nowadays? What is Striker AC up to? I don't even think I have a copy of him on hand. Oh, what a bad sign. Oh, we're off to a bad start. Just for those who remember how good Striker AC used to be, let's go check. I apparently don't have a copy of him, and I want to know why. Seismic Smash energy cost. That's not that bad. Seismic Smash is really strong, but it doesn't cost that much energy, and he's not really usable. I'll put him in D. It's not that serious. If you're running a Seismic Smash build, he's probably good in support, but you've got better options. Tedshot Jess might actually be an F hero. Do I have her in the collection? She is a not this section of the collection book. She might be lower down. I do believe I have a copy of her. If I'm not mistaken, Tedshot is headshots converted to fragments. Yeah, every 21 headshot eliminations. Headshots are extremely inconsistent in this game, in sense of enemies are moving around constantly. It's not that easy, not that easy to hit them, and 21 is a lot for a single fragment. Typically, when you're running fragments, it's so that you don't have to shoot the enemies as often. So to make me go for headshots on top of it, yeah, I don't know of anybody who's ever seriously gotten major use out of her. If there's something I'm missing, go for it, but F tier is probably good. Wild Fragment in C.
How dare you?
I'll bump him up to B. I agree. Wild Fragment goes in the... You know what? No. I'll put him up in A. I am actually changing my mind very late here, but it's true. The amount of damage he adds to Shock Tower is paired so well with Cyberclops. I'll put him in A tier. Yeah. I'll change my mind a little later. It's super useful. I'll put him up there. Ice Queen. Ice Queen's tricky. S, I don't know about S. I don't know about S. He is a support perk, and yeah. So Ice Queen freezes enemies with Shock Tower. I'm sorry, with Seismic Smash, and that is extremely useful. She is a fantastic commander for that loadout, but that one loadout is not a meta-defining loadout as it is. I'll put her in like A tier. Very useful indeed, but not that big of a deal. And she does give extra damage to frozen enemies. So if you're using Ice King, it's a great pairing. If you're using Floor Freeze, it's a great pairing. I think that could apply to traps. Comment down in the chat if I'm wrong, but if you're running Floor Freeze traps, which already give you a 20 or 25%, you know, Mitch Robb said 25%. My math was 20. Regardless, it gives you more damage to enemies. So if she can just stack another 14 on top of that, that's not bad. If she can buff your trap damage in that way, that's pretty good. I'll put her in A tier because she is very versatile. Trailblaster AC. Oh, goodness. Why do I always forget? Why do I not know what you do? Oh, yes. Shock Tower for half an extra second. That's like one more zap. I'll put him in D tier. It's not that useful. It's... I don't know about that. I believe this is a reskin hero. Is this... Who is this, chat? Can you comment down below? This is stuck in here. It's a founder's skin, I think. I don't know exactly what she does. I think it's the Recon Scout. Okay, so we'll put her right next to Recon Scout. I don't remember which one Rescout is. So many of these heroes look so similar. I don't even know. Oh, goodness, I'm blind. That's not Recon Scout, is it? It is. Okay, yeah, we'll put them in the same spot. All right, Quinn. We're going to put her up right under Gumshoe. So Quinn gives you extra damage and fire rate to your Teddy in the lead. However, she also only gives you 30% in support to the Teddy. So in my logic, that 30% to the Teddy is only to the Teddy and not the Shock Tower as well. I am blind. Where is she? Come on. I was supposed to pull this up quickly. There you go. Teddy damage. It's nice. Really nice. I use her in almost every Teddy loadout, but the fact that Gumshoe does Teddy and Shock Tower just is better. So yeah, easy A tier, but that's it. We're gonna put Buzz in an easy B tier. She reduces gadget cooldown. It's outclassed by any good loadout in the end game, but if you're a new player, she's a great pick. Valkyrie gives you, I believe, Seismic Smash. No. It gives you anti-material charge impact. That's F, easy. Very useless hero. Vanguard Southie is Seismic Smash cooldown. Very useful. More than you might think. I'm actually putting him in A tier, and you might think I'm joking, but in the lead, the Seismic Smash is a 3-second cooldown, and Seismic Smash is very strong. He's definitely a lower A tier. I know that like the specific ordering doesn't matter as much like I mentioned, but if it did, there's a reason he's on the far right. It's useful. Not a game-defining ability, mind you, but very useful. Valkyrie is a great pick for Teddy. I'll put her up here right next to Fragment, Deadeye. She essentially gives you... is that Valkyrie? No, that's... what is Ventura Ramirez? There you go. I've been using her because she gives you an extra damage to your Teddy long range. So the further away they are, she caps out at like a 40% damage bonus. Pretty useful. It's just extra damage. Nice to have. Willow. Based on your health, gives you extra ability damage. Circumstantial, but capping out at 37.5% damage, that's a good amount of damage. You need to have low health to activate it, but I'll put her in A tier, because if utilized properly, that's really nice, but having low health is a big drawback. So, Willow sucks, I will die on this hill. That's Archer's opinion. This is my list, not his, and yeah. I think A tier is where she belongs, and Zenith. Zenith has some serious fanboys. For those who don't know, he makes it so that crit hits from snipers freeze enemies in the lead, and that's pretty good. It's fun. It's not a game-defining, insanely strong thing to be doing, but you can freeze smashers. So it's funny how this is how I've always said it. I personally don't like Zenith, and I don't use him that often. I don't think he is a perfect loadout because you have to use a sniper, which most fast-firing snipers aren't that good. Crankshot and Vacuum Tube Sniper are the two main ones for him. You can use him with bows, but you won't be critting nearly as often as a faster-firing sniper. That said, while I don't personally run him, I have appreciated a teammate using Zenith to freeze enemies every time. So I'll put him in A tier just to recognize his potential as a support perk. If you have someone like Awari here running that, she was running it in Frost Knight, and stopping smashers frozen in their tracks was really useful. So I see his utility, even if I'm only putting him in A tier. That is a 30-minute recording, just like I feared. Outlanders have a lot to talk about. They are... You know what? Mark my words. Outlanders are the most versatile heroes in the entire game. Their abilities are awesome. None of them are useless. Teddy is insanely strong. Phase Shift is fantastic. Seismic Smash is really good. Shock Tower is really good as well. You can farm with them. So they are your farming heroes, your ability heroes, as much as like ninjas are your ability heroes usually, but you know, they buff melees. So I'm thinking, while they do nothing to buffing your Constructor build, I'm saying that the right Outlander loadout can feel like a ninja. You can run Beetle Jess or Ranger Deadeye to be a soldier. By the way, these two are nearly identical and should reflect that on the list. You can be a soldier because they buff your SMG damage, which is nuts. or you could be an Outlander going around farming, and they're so good. Outlanders, none of these, I'm sorry, most of these aren't useless. D and F tier can kind of get forgotten about, but everything C and up has a place in this game, and they might be my favorite class. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below what you guys want to see next. If you disagreed with anything, please be nice about it. My goodness, some people are rude. This is just my opinion, okay? I'll see you guys in the next one, and have a nice day. All right, another tier list. I am real life me recording this like immediately after the Outlander tier list, and that one was over half an hour long with 17 less heroes than we're about to be talking about. This is going to be a fun one. Outlanders are very, very fun, very, very cool, but soldiers are easily like my most favorite and has been for the longest time. I'm a run and gun player. I really enjoy them, so this is going to be a good one. This is, of course, my opinion. While highly informed, it is my opinion and my perspective. If 10 max level players who have 10,000 hours played made 10 different tier lists, you're going to get 10 different options. So if you guys disagree with anything, please be nice. You're welcome to explain yourself in the comments down below, but this is just for fun. If I rank anything in a spot that you don't think is where they should be, it's all a matter of perspective. So let's get into it. I might as well start from the bottom here. Seawolf Jonesy. He gives you 55% or something like that damage when you shockwave. It's actually pretty good. Fairly solid. I'm going to put him in C tier. Shockwave damage is nothing game defining, but super good. Pugbro, thank you for the Prime sub. I did mute my alerts for the video, so I want, you know, Twitch stream to be involved with this, but I don't want it to interrupt too much. Wukong. Wukong is one of those heroes where I wanted to be better. Wukong gives you an explosion kill. Like, essentially, every 6 kills, it explodes and damages a bunch of enemies. It's really good. If you are a brand new player, he is an S tier. Put him in support, 100%. But as the game goes on and you get better options, he kind of falls to like D tier, frankly. I'm going to put him in C tier because of how universal he is. Ranged weapon damage. Any ranged weapon of any kind, not your abilities, by the way, no minigun or anything. Any ranged weapon causes those explosions. It makes it so that something like a shotgun or a pistol can have area of effect damage. It's just not very much damage. So C tier is a great place for him. Super usable forever. This is, I believe, a event hero, Warpaint. What does he do? He and I think, let me find the 3 of them. So we're looking for the Banshee chick. I'm trying to find these characters because it's a reskin, but they're all the same, and I am completely blind. All right, these 2 are exactly the same, and Banshee, if I can find her, basically give you a 25.5% damage and movement speed. These are easily S tier heroes. They're not any kind of ability that can be your entire loadout. These 3 heroes can't exactly be the only thing you're running, but the idea that you can just pop a war cry and buff your entire team by 25.5% is nuts. That is a wicked strong ability and easily S tier. We have used these characters in Storm King fights for most of my victories, and I think they are a staple in the Storm King fight. They recently buffed the horn to be as strong as it used to be, so it is, while not strictly necessary, I'm aware, extremely consistent to have a Warcry player who can get up there and pop a Warcry. And in regular missions, if you're fighting a mini boss, somebody running Banshee is super nice. So down here we have Urban Assault Headhunter. She is easily A tier. She basically gives you headshot damage and fire rate based on you hitting headshots. It's going to be a low A tier. You're going to watch a lot of other heroes funnel in ahead of her, but generally nice to have. Very outclassed by your better options. Good for the early game, but I don't really value fire rate as a real damage option because you're not really doing more damage, quote unquote. You're just shooting faster, which means you're reloading them more often, you're breaking your weapons quicker, you're using more ammo. It's not actual damage, it's just fire rate, and that's why A tier is nice. I recognize her potential, but headshots are also very inconsistent and kind of whatever. We got Undercover Vaughn here. He buffs grenade damage by 30-odd%. It's nice. Grenades are good. I mean, C tier, you know, nothing serious. It's not a meta game defining hero, and I don't want to waste too much time. Okay, Triceratops. Oh boy, such a beautiful hero. She gives you a disgustingly low amount of health every 5 seconds. The famous number, not strictly speaking, I'm rounding, but the famous number for if you are at 0 health, which is impressive to not be dead by then, she will heal you in about 4 freaking minutes. It is so slow. The basic idea that she will be passively healing you throughout your mission is easily an S tier concept, but the amount of health she gives you is literally F tier. I'm not even kidding around. She needs a buff, seriously, especially as a dino, one of the most revered hero types in the entire game. An F tier is just not where she should be. Maybe buff it to like 20% every 5 seconds and she'd be A tier, but for now, no. She is less than survivalist, and you're about to see how I'm going to treat survivalist. We'll get to him later. Ted, on the other hand, easy A tier. He gives you 10 crit rating and 100-something% crit damage. I don't actually know the exact figures. It doesn't matter. He basically gives you a crit build to your what are we talking about? Minigun? Yeah, there we go. Boom. Yeah, 100% crit damage and crit rating. Yeah, I was right. So it's just a great buff to minigun. Minigun is an S tier ability, as we're going to find as we go along, and A tier is easily probably the minimum of where he should belong as a support perk in that build. Swamp Knight gets a lot of hype because you can stand still and do nothing in lower zones, but in real missions with actually strong enemies, he's like a D tier at best. I don't value him as a very strong hero. I know that you can be lazy in low-level missions, but there are 1.5 million ways to AFK through low-level missions. Throw a Teddy, use a base, put a really strong healing character in your commander. Like, no, Swamp Knight is not anybody who gets my respect. I'm putting him in D tier, even though no, there is no even though. I'm putting him in D tier. Who do we got here? That's Survivalist Jonesy? Well then, do we have 2 Survivalist Jonesies in here? What did I move next to him? Is that a different, oh, that's Sergeant Jonesy. All right, well, Survivalist Jonesy. Again, S tier concept. Seriously, being able to get health from your kills is awesome, but 13 base health per second is so low. I mean, it is so bad. I'm gonna put him in C tier simply because as a character that heals you, by the way, Birthday Brigade, same perk, I like the idea that you can get the health from the kills, but it's so bad. A campfire is better. Coconuts blowed out of the water. The burgers from Dennis that he drops on the ground are good. Saurian Vigor is worse for sure, but Survivalist needs a buff by far. He should be an A or S tier hero. Getting health from your kills should at least stack, because if you guys don't know, if you get 10 kills immediately, you are still getting 13 health, base health, not literally health, per second, which is only like 50,000. It's not like total. It's like 20,000 a pop. It's not a lot. I know that math doesn't add up, but it's yeah. So I'm also going to turn off Streamlabs because somebody follow bought it, so that's not going to be a thing anymore. All right, so yeah, Survivalist needs a buff. All right, we have Support Specialist Hawk. That is Warcry cooldown. No, cost, right? Yeah, energy cost. That's completely useless. Warcry is not something you use often enough to reduce the cost. F tier. I'm not even going to talk about it. Steelwool Carlos gives you, let me just show his perk because it's kind of complicated. He gives you Warcry duration based on the kills, and it's 0.4 per kill, which isn't that much, but it's stacked to 15 total. I'll save you the math. It's a 6-second Warcry extension if you're getting kills, which you should be if you're using Warcry. I'm going to easily put him in A tier. Not S tier, but A tier. Him and Ghoul Trooper, by the way. Ghoul Trooper and Ghoul Jonesy, wherever he is, they're both the exact same character. I'm blind, but he's in here somewhere. The two of them are going to give you 3 extra seconds on your Warcry. It's not a ton, but there we go. I was blind. These all buff your Warcry. He gives you twice as much. 3 seconds is less than 6, and extra Warcry duration is nice. These 3 should always be paired together. And while we're at it, I shouldn't be skipping ahead like this, but I want to put Wildcat just because she gives you a 17% Warcry reduction in the support, a lot in the lead, but you shouldn't be running her in the lead. Warcry in general is a great perk, S tier literally, but the support perks are bad. If you have all 3 of the Warcry extension and cooldown reduction heroes in your support, it's still not that frequent. It's not even nearly 100% uptime, and that's like 3 of your 6 hero slots all used up for Warcry, and it's a frustrating thing to do, but it is what it is. All right. Stars and Stripes Jonesy. This is going to be one of the first S tier soldiers in the game, because I say first because these three are the same. Okay, let me do two at the same time so we can talk. Light Show Spitfire gives you a 30% mag size bonus. He is essentially your mag size hero in the game. That is a B tier perk for one specific bug. I don't know if it's a bug or just the way the game works, but he gives you 30% based on the base magazine. So let me explain. Let me get into the math here. So Light Show Spitfire gives you 30%, but he doesn't care about mag size perks. If I can find him, I might have him in the collection book. I might have put him in the collection book, which means if you have, in the most extreme example, a magazine, large mag size LMG, I think I'm sorted by subtype here, so I can find the Mercury LMG hopefully in a reasonable amount of time. 100 mag size means you will get 30 extra bullets. If you run quadruple mag size on this weapon, you will have 400 rounds in the mag. That means with Light Show Spitfire, you will have 430 rounds in the mag. He does not care about mag size, and that severely limits him. However, Stars and Stripes Jonesy doesn't care. Let me explain what's going on here. He gives you a chance to not consume ammo, which means the weapon, while you're firing your rounds, you know, you're shooting your 100 bullets, 100, 99, 98, and so on, he will just not shoot the shot. Like, you'll shoot the bullet out of the gun, you'll do damage to the enemy, but it won't consume any ammo. So this will save you ammo, just means you won't have to farm as much, and you won't have to reload as often, and you'll shoot for longer. And that percent chance can apply to itself, because if you have a 24% chance to not consume ammo, on average, you'll get through 76 rounds of your magazine, or you'll do 100 rounds and you'll have 24 shots remaining. Then the 24% applies to those 24 shots as well, and then those remaining 6, and so on and so forth. Let me save you the math. It's about a 31.73% overall ammo save, which makes him a little more than 1% better than Light Show Spitfire. And that stacks on top of mag size. In fact, I can pull up this video so quickly. I'm going to show you guys a little bit of gameplay for one of the coolest things I've ever done in this entire game. I thought I'd find this video a little quicker, but I'm too far to go back at this point. I have to show you this clip. I essentially put him in the lead, where you get about a 90% ammo like return, and it is awesome. Why do I not have this clip? There it is. It was right where I thought it was. I was just blind. Come on, Nightbot. Come on, Nightbot. It's not linking it in chat. There we go. I was able to shoot for about 800 rounds straight, and it was the most satisfying experience in my Fortnite history. This is basically the power of Light Show Spitfire. You're just, let me mute me, shooting forever, and you can see the number is only sometimes going down. It's a tremendous experience. I'm probably spending way too much time on one hero, but I just think it's really, really interesting how his perk is a little unintuitive, because saving ammo didn't initially translate to a mag size perk when I first read it, but if you look into it, he is way better than Light Show Spitfire, and I used him all the time. Okay, that was way too much time for one hero. Star Spangled Headhunter is very similar to him, although her ammo save happens after a war cry. You can use this for like rocket launcher spam. It's super fun. It's limited to a war cry, and she kind of has to be your commander for it to matter. So I'm gonna put her in like A tier. Super fun, super usable, but you know, not as powerful. I'm gonna put Sledgehammer, and if I can find her, Rescue Trooper Ramirez right next to him, because these two essentially give you 50% damage bonus to your assault weapons and SMGs. His 225% crit basically is the same, slightly more damage on average, but it's only your crits. So she's a little more universal, and I've preferred her in the lead for a very long time because of that consistency. Both of these are insane. They are your go-to AR heroes and SMG heroes. Ranger Deadeye can compete with these two. Well, Ranger Deadeye and Beetlejuice both do the same thing, but it's, you know, pistols and SMGs instead. So these two are insanely S tier. They are your best soldiers for that damage output. I don't know if we have their reskins in here, but if we stumble across them, I will update it as we go. The Skull Trooper boy and gal, 15% damage bonus upon reload. It's B tier. I don't think that's an A tier ability. It's useful if you have room in your loadout, but there are usually better options. I'd say 9 out of 10 times I want to use these heroes, I find a better option elsewhere, but definitely don't want to forget about it, because reloading is something you're going to do often in this game, and having heroes buff your damage just for doing that, not a bad deal. What do we got here? So this is Shrapnel Headhunter, 50% damage to shotguns, and Buckshot is 225% to shotguns. Extremely similar to our AR SMG heroes. insanely strong. Shotguns are some of the strongest weapons in the entire game. They are mist monster slayers, absolute annihilation of mini bosses as well. These two are very, very strong and definitely deserving of the S tier position. I don't even know who we got here. Shock Trooper Renegade. That is Shockwave cooldown, isn't it? I think it actually is. I'm going to double check just so we can all be sure. I think, yeah, Shock Trooper Renegade. There we go. Shockwave cooldown. Yeah, so it's pretty... It's nice if you want to spam Shockwave, but Shockwave's not good enough to be your main damage or anything. I'll put him in C tier, right next to Seawolf. It's kind of whatever. Sergeant Winter, same kind of C tier. Like, he gives you snowballs with your going commando. It's a little bit of water damage. It's kind of fun. It's area of effect damage as well. It's not super useful, but yeah. I could have sworn this was the PNG for Survivalist, but this is Sergeant Jonesy. He gives you 5 extra seconds on the minigun. I'm actually putting him in A tier. You might not think that matters, but it is just enough to where if you put Commando Spitfire in the lead, who is an S tier hero, by the way, with Sergeant Jonesy in support, or I'm sorry, yeah, Sergeant Jonesy, that extra 5 seconds is identical to the birthday chick, by the way, makes it so that you have a 5.5 second cooldown. Otherwise, you're waiting 10.5 seconds, which is almost twice as long, and it's a super good ability. I know it's only 5 seconds, but it goes a long way. And Commando Spitfire gives you an instant, again, this ordering up here is kind of whatever, but that cooldown is 66% in the lead, and he is one of the best soldiers in the game, the best for minigun in my opinion. That said, Chromium is something different. So this is Diecast Jonesy, not Chromium. He gives you an energy minigun and a 50% damage bonus, 25% in support. If you are ever using Diecast Jonesy in the lead, Commando Spitfire is in support. If you're ever using Commando Spitfire in the lead, Diecast is in support. They're the same hero, essentially. They should always be together. They're not the same hero, I'm sorry. They should always go together, though. These two are always intertwined. If I could put these in equal footing, they would be, because minigun's insane, and these guys are great. I've been using Diecast in Ventures because, you know, energy minigun against elemental enemies is great, and he's super, super strong. Rex Jonesy. Okay. I use him often enough to put him in S tier, but he's really only getting brownie points because he activates Blast from the Past. He really only gives you 3% of your current health. I'm sorry, total health, I think. No, current health. I actually just checked that recently. He gives you 3% of your current health to your damage on your next weapon hit. It's not that much. He's like a high A tier just because he activates Blast in the Past and is a great support perk if you're just running one of the... Hello? But he's not that strong, so I'll put him in A tier, but you know, he's just a great hero. You kind of have to use him. That's why I'm thinking about this so weird. That's why I'm being so odd about it, because I use Blast in the Past a lot. It's kind of my default, and he is a great pick, but I can't argue that he's really contributing that much to the build, so I'll put him in A tier, but I don't think he deserves more than that. Redline Ramirez, easily D tier because snipers kind of... Oh, wait, bows exist. Yeah, no, S tier. Seriously, I'm not even kidding. Bows are good enough to escalate Redline Ramirez and Rabbit Raider to S tier. They are... she's 17% in support and 17% in the lead, but she buffs fire rate. He is the usual crit. I think it's 75% crit in support, 225 in the lead. Bows alone make these two extremely often used. Maybe not S tier damage, so to speak, but because bows are so meta, I mean, you can't not use these heroes, and I think S tier is a fitting place for them. Raven is S tier during the season where it reduces the cooldown of your abilities, and that's kind of it. Unfortunately, I'm going to put him in S tier, and I'm going to keep him here because he gives Bang and Pow, which buffs your lefty and righty damage and gives them an explosion. That is a ludicrously strong ability. However, the cooldown makes him function like a C tier hero. So if you can deal with the cooldown of lefty and righty, he's S tier. And I'm going to put him up there for that reason. But if you're watching this and you're not just skipping to the end and you're actually listening for my explanation, I do believe he functions as a C tier hero because, you know, it's like the diecast situation. You might be doing twice as much of that minigun. You're not, but you might be doing twice as much of that minigun. But since you have 22 more seconds of cooldown, does it really matter? So... something to think about. Let's see. Calamity gives you a 6 perk. No, she gives you a team perk that is very not that useful. I'm not going to be considering it into her pick. She buffs pistol damage by a lot and ups their impact, but it's only 6 shots, which makes her extremely niche. I'll put her in like I don't want to put her as low as D tier because she's really useful. If you're ever using the last word or a 6-shot pistol, she's definitely A tier. But when are you ever doing that? I think generally C tier is fair, but she doesn't see a lot of use, unfortunately. Powerhouse, I'm going to ignore because Love Ranger Jonesy is exactly the same. Shockwave Radius, yeah, again, pretty whatever. I'll just put them in C tier. The ordering here isn't as important as it usually is. These are the same hero. He's a starter pack hero. I mean, Shockwave Radius. What do you want from me? Let me check right quick here. This is, let me scroll up. What is her name again? Onslaught Headhunter? Is she Shockwave again? Yeah, Shockwave energy cost. We're just gonna put the Shockwave heroes right here. It's not a game-defining change, unfortunately. Noir. That extends lefty and righty by 10 seconds, right? Yeah, it's pretty great. I'll put him next to wherever we put other lefty and righty heroes. Have we not been ranking them yet? Yeah, B tier. He extends lefty and righty, one of the strongest abilities in the entire game. So as a support perk, he's great. But 10 extra seconds isn't that big of a deal. So I'm going to put him at casual B tier, and that's kind of whatever. Master Grenadier reduces, no. She extends the radius of grenade. Yeah, I mean, C tier. It's probably D tier, but C tier, because grenades are strong, but not really a loadout. Major Oswald, as far as I'm aware, has been bugged essentially since release, but Warcry snaring enemies is kind of whatever, and I already talked about how many support perks you need to make Warcry even viable. To add a fourth one that doesn't even give you damage is tough, and snaring them and giving you damage is nice in the lead. I've heard people say he's underrated. I can agree, but I don't know. I don't know. I've never seen anybody seriously make him work. I remember when he was new and everybody was curious, but I think low B tier is fair. I think he's got potential. I'm not experienced with him personally, but I've heard enough reviews from him that I think B tier is pretty safe. Jonesy, F tier. He gives you damage on headshot, which is based on how much health you're missing, and as far as I'm aware, it doesn't even work. So literally a non-functional hero. Even if he was functioning, F tier is fair. Jolly Headhunter gives you those presents. What exactly does she do? Just for posterity. Eliminated enemies have a small chance to drop presents that give you 8 seconds of movement speed, damage, or energy, which is not... It's a niche. Like, if you're screwing around, she's fun, but not actually viable. I'm gonna put her in D tier. This is Warcry cost, or what does she do? Highland Warrior Cat. What do you got going on? Yeah, frag energy cost. Yeah, it's... Again, with the other frag heroes, I've explained frag grenades and why they're pretty good. She also, what is her name? I'm trying to get the name. 4-leaf Wildcat. Every X amount of eliminations gives you another frag chargement for frag grenades. It's grenades. It is what it is. First shot Rio. Oh boy. All right, so she gives you a 100% crit chance for the first 6 shots after a reload. Very conditional, but it's a 100% crit chance. Now, with weapons like the Hydra that shoot very one-shot and do a lot of damage with their crits, it's nice. Super niche, very slow, very clunky, and because of that, I'm putting her in B tier. She has the potential for S tier damage, but the amount of setup and accuracy you need and reloading after every shot, it's just... So here's the thing. You do a lot of damage per shot, but the amount of time you spend making sure you hit those shots and stopping to reload, your overall damage output is really not that impressive. So I think B tier is extremely fair. Fallen Love Ranger, easy A tier. He gives you energy generation after eliminations. That is super useful for builds that need lots of energy. A staple hero for any kind of energy generation, and comparable to Fossil Southie. Not as good, but comparable in usefulness. Extraterrestrial Rio, easy F tier. Oh wait, they updated her perk. She gives you 20% bonus energy damage based on whether or not you have at least 50% of your shield. So if your shield is 50% or higher, you're doing 20% more energy. That is wicked strong, very conditional. I don't know if it's quite S tier because it's easy to lose her damage bonus, but A tier, yeah, I think so. high A tier, like intentionally above the headhunter. Like she is very, very strong. That new update really gave her a lot of usefulness, and I'm really glad to see it. So yeah, happy to see her high. I'm gonna put Noir and Evelyn right next to each other because she gives you 1 second off your lefty and righty for SMG and pistol kills. Those pistols are not counted lefty and righty. I'm sorry, by lefty and righty. Lefty and righty is an ability. It's not in the files. It's not in the game code as a pistol. It will not reduce its own cooldown, unfortunately. But yeah, she is essentially the same as Noir. They both reduce lefty and righty cooldown by not that much. Demolisher Jonesy gives you extra frag grenades. It's a nice bonus for grenades. We've talked about it. Chaos Agent, easy S tier. I'm going to put him right up here next to all our boys. I'm going to put him right next to Assault Ammo Recovery because he is my replacement. Assault Ammo Recovery used to be my main hero in support. I'd use him constantly. I think that extra mag size was hugely useful, and I stand by that. However, Chaos Agent making you instantly reload with an ability is super strong. I've made like 7 videos on him or something with different loadouts and different use cases. An exceedingly strong hero. Super glad that they added him to the game. And yeah, if you can utilize him, he's incredibly strong. He even functions with shotguns now, which is dumb. What you can do is with Shrapnel, Headhunter, Buckshot, and Support, the whole deal, you can lay into a mini boss, you know, boom, 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 empty your magazine, pop a War Cry, which instantly reloads your shotgun, and get right back into it. Throw a grenade, get right back into it. It's so strong. You will basically kill the mini boss before you ever have to reload your shotgun normally. So yeah, Chaos Agent is S tier. He's an insanely great addition to the game, and I'm happy to see him. What do we got here? Yeah, lefty and righty stunning enemies. It's good. It's very good. I use him in support every time I run lefty and righty, but I don't run lefty and righty often. So yeah, B tier is great. Don't forget him when you run a lefty and righty build, but I'm not going to praise him super much. Crack Shot. We're going to put him... Oh, it's going to be controversial if I put him this high, but he's so good. Let's do it. Let's do it. Him and Bulletstorm are basically the same hero. So, well, kind of. All right, so Crackshot gives you damage with... Okay. It stacks your damage so long as you don't reload or switch off, and that can get up to 145%. If you use a weapon like the Storm King's Scourge, which never technically has to reload, you can just run around, so long as you don't switch off your weapon, with a constant 145% damage bonus. That is nuts. That is so much damage. Bulletstorm is just a direct downgrade. I don't think he alone is worth S tier. You know, in fact, just to be fair, I'll put him in like A tier, but they should always be used together because it's just so much extra damage. His 1% stacking to 25 essentially gives you a constant 170% damage bonus. That's not, strictly speaking, exactly how it works, but just for the sake of conversation, they are a really great pairing. It's super strong. However, this is where people who skip to the end and don't listen to the explanation are going to get called out in the comments. I will argue that Crackshot isn't usually S tier because in the real world you're stopping to build, your weapons have to reload. Storm King Scourge is one of the very few ARs that doesn't ever have to reload, and ranking a hero in S tier because of one weapon is a little sketchy, but we can all get the Storm King Scourge. All of us are capable of getting our power level to 122. You don't need to be carried, you guys. Don't even stop commenting that. Just earn it yourself. It's available to all of us. There's no RNG in getting the Storm King Scourge. Maybe your first 4 fights are going to be unlucky, but you will get it if you keep at it with the Storm King. It's a guaranteed drop in this game. You will get the Storm King Scourge. It's not like a llama. So yeah, S tier I think is fair, but I think in reality you're usually, yeah. So anyway, Crackshot's insane potential. Who is this? Chromie Ramirez. Yeah, gives you shield for reloading. D. She's no, no, not. We've tried. It's you can't really save her. Who is this support specialist Hawk? I don't think so. His coat isn't... This is Centurion Hawk. What does he do exactly? Usually if I don't know off the top of my head, it's a very bad sign. Warcry Radius. Yeah, no, that's kind of F, because here's the deal. I'm not saying Warcry Radius is bad. I'm just saying he is like never your top... Like, you will always have a full loadout before he's even considered. So he's just unfortunately outclassed by everything. I'm going to put Carbide... Yeah, I'm just gonna move right on. Carbide. Okay, I'm gonna put him in S tier because of dungeons. Outside of dungeons, he's useless, but anybody who's ever ran a carbide loadout in dungeons knows how much it bounces around and how much damage it does. Easily C tier in regular missions. I mean, even F tier if you're using him in support. That extra affliction is terrible. But in dungeons, I'm gonna put him in S tier, but practically he's C tier. So to those who watch the video, you'll know his true ranking, but I'm gonna put him in S tier just because I love him that much. Low S tier. I mean, below everything else, but still insane. And I think that's fair enough. Again, I'm gonna put the bunny hero. Oh yeah, Cottontail was in the last tier list. Yeah, I'll put her in C tier. She gives you shockwave bombs. It's nice but not serious. Again, we got another lefty and righty build where she adds cannonballs to it. It's Buccaneer Ramirez. Not that much damage. It's kind of nice, but probably I have seen full, very kitted out lefty and righty loadouts built before she ever quite makes it there. It's, yeah. Pirate hero, he gives you, is he pistol or SMG? Which one do you do? Is he pistol or sword, should I say? Which part of the pirate build are you, sir? He increases your sword damage, or no. If you do sword damage, he increases your pistol. Super conditional, very annoying. A tier if you're willing to build that loadout, but he's not. He's not that insane. Fun, but you know. Breakbeat, easy S tier, literally. I'm not going to put her above everything else, but Breakbeat, essentially every 9 kills in support, she'll give you, or if you get, how many kills in 9 kills in 10 seconds or something? Let's get the exact number. 10 enemies in 9 seconds, she'll just up your damage by a shitload and your attack speed. Super useful, very useful. That buffs minigun, by the way. It buffs your minigun. That is really strong, and as a commander, and especially if you're activating Totally Rockin' Out, she is extremely strong. I put Mainstage Quinn in S tier in the Outlander tier list for the exact same reason I'm putting her in S tier, because anything to do with Totally Rockin' Out is typically an instant S tier because it's an insanely good perk. Oh my god, my head hurts. I've been talking for over an hour. Let's hold on. We got 3 more. Grenades, rucksack, not that serious. We've talked about grenades a lot. It's nice if you're running grenades. Archetype Havoc makes you run faster after shockwave. He's a good B tier support. He's not some insane game-changing hero, but if you're speedrunning dungeons, getting around faster with shockwave is great. I don't remember who this is. I'm looking at my cheat sheet up here. If you guys didn't know, I should have shown this earlier. It's just giant, the folder that Archer pulled from. Berserker Renegade. Oh, he's the one who gives you your shockwave instantly after breaking your shield. Am I correct? Yeah. That is nearly useless. I'm gonna put him in F tier. All right. Whew! I kept it around 30 minutes. There's the soldier tier list. Soldiers, like Outlanders, are some of the most versatile characters in the entire game, some of the strongest in the game. S tier is stocked because so many of these are game defining. It's really glad. I'm really glad to see so many good heroes in the game, and the fact that there are only so few F and D tier is very cool, and I think that's how balanced all the hero classes should be. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Reminder to be nice. This is all for fun and just my opinion. This isn't an end-all be-all list. It's any of this can fluctuate depending on new strategies and loadouts, but for that matter, I'll call it there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna go rest my tongue and have a good day.